Hello, everybody. Welcome to 3D Animation with Blender. We have week 4, our scene creation masterclass. Thanks again for joining us on this exciting journey. And with us, we have Leon that will take us through the final week of scene creation. Just want to note that we do have so Blender software, totally free. You can download it if you haven't done so already. Please do, and hopefully you've been following along, creating your own scene. And you can we'll have Leon's email up as well after, so you can send him. If you have any questions about it, or you want to share, I'll put my email up as well. So feel free to stay, communicating and connected with us and making it work how best we can. We will have we have a new masterclass coming up in July. So it'll be animating. We're going to take the scene and work on some initial animation beyond the design and build. So that's already up. You can register tbmcs.ca, our website, and then go to the Eventbrite link. And that's 4 weeks in July, starting July 10th, Saturday. As well. So we will see you guys then. So please join us after this week for that next session in July. So without any further ado, let me pass it over to Leon. Here we go.
Thank you, Tom. Hi again, everyone. Welcome back to our last workshop for Blender design and modeling and the scene modeling. As you can see in the scenes that I have here, I go ahead and put in all the other textures on the scenes, but I left a couple because I just it's a little bit different way of doing texturing, and so that's what we're going to focus today. But hopefully you've been following along, and you'll everything else here that it should be covered the same way of doing the texturings and unwrapping your models and then adding some textures. It's all the same thing that all this around this building here. And as you notice in here, I have this plane here is untextured, and also I have this street lamp is untextured. So there's a reason why I'm doing that, because I'm going to make the scene kind of in the middle of in a dark middle of the night kind of scene. It's gonna give a little bit feeling of I guess not creepy, but it's just gonna otherworldly, I guess, at night. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm gonna make this lamp, the street light, have the lights on, and the grass will be another way of doing it. It's a different way of texturing it also. And so again, so let's start working on the grass at the moment. Let's just do that first. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to solid, just so it's not too heavy. And I'll select everything here except, okay. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this. The reason why I'll show it to you after this. I'm just going to delete that, and I'm going to hide everything else. So we can focus just on the grass. So next thing I want to do is, if you go to your preferences, if you just type images, you gotta import export image as a plane. So it will just import whatever image you have and put it on a plane, so you don't have to unwrap it and put textures on it and stuff like that. So that's kind of save a little bit time there. There's many different ways to do grass. Definitely, there's a different. You can model individual grass and put it in a group, and then put that into and then make it put it a particle effects in Blender, and have that put as a grass, and then there is just using textures with the same thing like you did with all the other model with the building. Texture, put like normal map and everything. Like that's the easiest way to do it. And there's another one here that kind of I think is in the middle. We don't really have to. We kind of use a little bit of a both style, which I think for this purpose of the scene, I think works really well. So let's go in and go to add new object, and then you go to image here, and then you can go to images as planes, and then you'll find your grass, and I'll just have the grass color here. So I'm just gonna rotate this 90. Is it this way? So just like rotate it 90 degree, and then we'll have, let's see. Oh, we'll go to render. You're gonna see, as you can see, the plane already have grass texture in it. Pretty good, pretty easy. So let's see. Because for that, let's expand it a little bit, and then let's bring all the other what do you call it again, objects in, so we can put the let me just close the tree because it's really slowing things down. Gonna hide the tree again. Okay, so now it's easier. Okay, so let's put this grass underneath and then make it expand it. Scale Y, scale Y, scale X. Jeez. Tap. Yeah. So it's like something like that. Just gonna fix this a little bit. Okay. All right, so there you go. You have the grass there, and let's select everything else. Let's just and then hide everything else and put the grass. Now, next thing we do is to go to edit mode, and then we're going to subdivide. Oh, sorry, I forgot this shortcut. Okay, so I'm gonna start the shortcut there. Okay, so I'm gonna subdivide this into, let's say, I'm just gonna eyeball it. I would say about 10, yeah, 10 cuts like that. So you get pretty good. And next thing I want to do is we can go to the vertex mode, and I'm going to enable the proportional editing here. Then I'm gonna select one of the vertex, and I'm going to press T, and then I can make some adjustments, because you don't want the plane to be really straight if possible. You don't need to be too much distortion, because you're not in a grassy, in a hill or anything like that. You're in the middle of a city, or so generally the road or the grass are more level compared to if you're out there in the wild. Anyway, so okay, so that's done. So next thing we do, we're gonna start touching the subject of particle effects. Well, just a little bit of this. So what we want to do is we're going to particle effect here, this tree button here, and you want to add particle. As you can see, you can have that little dot. That's essentially for for the emitter. There's many other different things, but for this purpose, we want to go to with hair. Okay. Oops, we are in the wrong position here. So let's rotate this way. Okay. Seems like upside down. All right, as you can see, it's a bunch of hair, and so we want to put the hair length into, let's say, 20. You can just play around here how high your graphs want to be, and then you want to put the number out. Depending on how good is your computer, you can go all the way crazy number to 500,000. But for this purpose, I don't have a really that fast computer, so 30,000 will be a good number. As you can see, it's starting to look like a grass. And you want to click on this advanced, and then you want to open the physics of the particle settings. And next thing is the Brownian setting here. You want to change that. As you can see, it randomized the look of the grass, so it doesn't go just straight up and down, and you get this wavy length of a grass. All right, so it's still kind of, I want to add a little bit more volume in this grass. So I will be going to this, sorry, not hair shape, the children, and you want to enable the interpolated here. If you click on it, there you go. You get more volumes of the grass. So this is a good way of adding more without individual particles need to be rendered. So this is if you have a better computer, you can up the number up to $500,000. You don't need to click on the interpolated. But since I don't have that, not many people have that computer power. So, have a lower number, and then make sure your children set into interpolated. That will give you a pretty good look of a grass. There you go. That's the grass with the particle system. Pretty easy, pretty quick. So maybe I'll put the hair length into 20. Yeah, that's much better. It's still a bit high. Maybe I'll put in 10. Yeah, pretty good. So it's really up to you how much you can play around with the settings here, the number, and to get the look that you want in your scene. Okay, so let's take a look at let's bring all the other object in, and it's gonna have it's gonna take a bit of time because now we have the trees, we have the tree and the grass for Blender to calculate. So it's a little bit slow. As you can see, my computer moving really slow because we don't want there's a lot of particle in the scene. That's why the more numbers you have, the higher Blender will have to keep constantly process every time you move your camera. That Blender the computer has to calculate all that numbers, which is very slow. Now that we are happy with the grass, well, I'm happy with it. So, so let's just go to the modifier, and let's just go to here and then make the real-time render viewport, and then just uncheck that so we don't have that grass particle. And then once we're ready to render it, it will render properly because the render setting is still on. And the same thing with the tree. I don't really need to see the tree right now, so I'm just going to hide these two. Right. Okay. Right. So continue on with the last one that we're going to texture is this lamp here. Now, this lamp, it's going to do something different here, and I'm going to mark seams like that. Okay, and then I'm going to the same thing. I want to unwrap the pole. As you can see, the pole is unwrapped. So UV, minimize stretch, average lens. Click on that, minimize stretch. All right, that's pretty good. Okay, and I'm going to have it the same material as this gate here because it's a metal. So just what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the first, the one that I'm going to copy the material, and then Control L, Command L, or and then you go to make link material. There you go. Now you have the same material as, and this, so you don't have to texture it twice. It's pretty much the same. It's the same material. Now, what I want to do is to change this. I'm gonna copy this material in let's see. So I'm gonna copy this metal for the street lamp. Okay. The reason why is I like to change the color a little bit to differentiate that. Maybe I'll have the what do you call it again? I like this color for. No, let's change this color into a lighter color. So let's have color, then back to converter, color wrap, and I'm gonna add it into this main color. Then I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit. Just adjusting the color a little bit, just to make a differentiate the color with the fence. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now, this is the one that is going to be a little bit different. because the scene that I'm going to make is I'm planning to put it in a dark environment, in a very so at a night scene. So I want the street lamps to emit some light. So that's why it's a bit different doing it. But the first thing we can do is the same thing. We can just unwrap it and let's put sphere projections. No, let's cylinder projections, probably better. Okay, so that's okay. And then the same thing like this building here, we this building is one mesh, but have two different has two different texture in it. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna implement the same way of doing it, like here. And the top here, I want to have it as metal street lamp. Assigned. And this then I'm at the bottom here, I'm going to have it different. I'm going to have a new material and then add material, and then this I'm gonna have the street light and the surface, the base color. Actually, the surface here, we're gonna change it from the normal principal BSDF into emission. Voila. So, okay, let's do that again. Street light assign. There you go. As you can see, this have some kind of a light. So I'm gonna change this color into a more orangey color. And next thing I want to do is to add the strength. I would say about 5 is good for now. Now it doesn't really give. And then next thing I want to do is go into the render setting, and you want to check the bloom. As you can see, it gives the glow around the street lamp. And the same thing, we want to have that glow a bit orangey. And the radius, we want to bring the radius up. The intensity, we can bring the intensity up as well here. And the threshold of where the threshold is how far your light will affect the scene. So let's try about. Again, this kind of setting is the one that you can play around with. All right, so that's the street lamp. Now, next thing I want to do is to change this whole background setting, the world, they call it the world setting, into a dark setting. And in order to, from gray to dark. So in order to do that, we go to this here, the shade editor, and we're going to change it in and go to the objects on the side here and change it into world. Okay. As you can see, the color here is kind of grayish, so we just want to bring it down. don't need to be all the way. Maybe have a little bit color of bluish color and have it a bit more dark there. And you can see we have some kind of a light there. Okay, next thing I want to do is I want to get rid of this grid now that we almost done with our scene. We'll just get rid of the grid and go to the top here. Make sure it selects X, Y, Z, and then change, uncheck everything, and check the floor and overlay the viewport. As you can see, is the scene is dark now, which is make it really cool. Now, from here on, in order to finish the scene, what I like to, in order to make your scenes more giving a little bit more of a complete feeling, I guess. Any painting, any, like if you watch a movie, painting, watching a photograph, there's always these things, what they call it, atmosphere. You want to set the atmosphere of your painting. You want to set the atmosphere of your film. That atmosphere is a very strong finishing for your scene. It help the viewer to understand what you're trying to convey, what the scene is, what the painting is, right? Because you can have like a morning, as a morning sun, it will be a different feeling than the this, the atmosphere during the sunset sun, right? Even though this the sun's still in the horizon, but it gives you this two different feeling. And then in the morning, you can also have many different feeling with the atmosphere we can play around with. In the morning, you can have a very misty, magical morning with the lighting and the colored lightings, and then you can have a very creepy morning, or just like a very bright and cheery morning. Those are the atmosphere that is very subtle, but it's very important to have in order to finish the painting. If you ever notice when you're doing something, when you're painting something, when you're doing a scene, modeling or drawing anything, and you feel that there's something that there's something that you need more, but you don't know what it is, always go back to the atmosphere. Look and really look what you're trying to convey in your painting. And that always, I feel, bring your scene up one to make it the finished product. Because the whole thing about us creating something is we are expressing ourselves and we want to tell a story based, no matter what it is that you're trying to do. And in order to tell a story, what is the best way to do it is by creating an atmosphere in your scene. So in this case here, I'm going to have a night atmosphere with a very creepy but magical kind of feeling around the scene. So that's my goal, to create this. And so next thing I want to do is to remove the lighting. The normal lighting that I have is the light, because the light right now I have it setting in sun, so I don't want that. So if I turn off that, you can see just with the let's see if we can brighten the threshold. Right, that's a totally different feeling. It feels like you're in hell or something like that. You don't want that. So let's bring that up again. And then have the light instead of the sun, we want to go with area light. Okay, so the area light is over here. This is the light here. So, and then I want to go with square. I think it's good. Make it bigger. Oops. And then I want to bring the power into 1000. So make it rectangle. Let's let's just not sure why I can't get. Let's remove that and let's make a new light. Area light. There you go. And then rotate it 90 degrees. Bring the square bigger. And again, bring this into 1000. And rotate that. Let me change the threshold a bit more. It's 0.5. And let's go here. Area lights. Bring 2000. Oh, that's too much. 1500. And I'll change this into a cool color like that color there. And then bring this to bloom, threshold, bring it down. This is just a matter of preferences. Like you can play around with the setting yourself. Don't necessarily have to follow exactly what I did here. I'm just trying to find the feeling that I like when I'm creating this scene. So 1800. I don't like the white. I'm gonna put a white, just a white. Okay, so as you can see, it gives you this really night with the light, the street light illuminating the scene there. And then what we can do is usually you can have multiple lighting to give a more, depending on what kind of lighting do you want to have. This one, I will reduce this lighting into, let's say, put it 1000 and see how it goes. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. So maybe change this color into, because there's some lighting coming from another street light this way, so you want to change the color a little bit. Things are very subtle. Okay, so that's great, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I think it's a pretty cool looking feeling. The next thing I want to do is to, this is probably the last for the scene, is to create kind of like a misty, foggy kind of night. So I'm going to create a cube, and then I'm going to bring the cube, make it bigger, right? And then going to change these textures into a volume scatter, and just change this into object. And you want to put this volume scatter into volume. Okay. And you want to bring the anisotropy down. It's density. Uh, 0.5. Bring it down. Density. Bring it like that much. Ooh, pretty cool. It's foggy, and then we can go to the render setting here from the Eevee. You get another options here to play around the start and end. So the tile size is essentially telling you how detailed your fog is. So the lower the number, the less detailed the fog is. So the higher the number, obviously, the better. But let's, for this purposes, just put the sample render. So right now it's just 64. Let's see if we can bring it up 128. Make it. And then distribution light clamping. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's bring this into 5,000 half and see. So the end of, like, how far the fog will go towards the camera. So within the cube, like how far the fog need to go before it dissipates. And when it starts, it's like how close it is to the object for the fog. So this is pretty good, I should say. And yeah, and then we're going to see the final. Let's turn on all the other the height object, like the trees and the particles, and see how that looks, shall we? Although let's see. Let's just change this to fog, close it, and then let's go to the modifier, turn it on. For the grass, and then let's bring the tree back on. And let's turn on the fog. There you go. That's the final look of your scene. Is just to give It's not bad, right, for the first scene. And again, like if you want to have a more if you want to if you want to make a more detailed look for a movie, then it is better to use what do you call it, the cycle render. So before we do that, I don't want to crash my computer here. Let me save it first. Okay, so let's go to Solid. And then let's change from the render engine from Eevee to Cycle. Okay, so I'm just gonna have a portion of the scene render. And our viewport is 128. And then let's go render this part and see how it looks in cycle render. That's probably gonna take forever to render because there's a lot of particle with the fog, the grass and trees, and the street light. So it's gonna take a while too. But I just want to show you how it looks really quickly with the cycle render. And as you can see right away, some of the texture materials are dark compared to the Eevee render. That's it's just the way the cycles and render processing their lighting, and not the lighting, the how they process the rendering is a little bit different. So if you're planning to do a cycle render, then it's you have to readjust some of this texture in order to better render in cycles. And so far, like everything else, render properly. It's not a problem, but it's just that some of the object, the concrete especially, is very dark, and you can probably change the texture in the concrete and make it and lighten it a little bit and play around with it. But yeah, so it's a little bit fast, but I'm hoping that you'll be able to learn a little bit more about the scene creations and how to make your scenes and elevate your scenes a bit more in order to make it more complete and convey the feelings of what you're trying to express in the scenes, right? So this is kind of like so the atmosphere is a very important aspect of creating a painting or any artwork in general. So yeah, let's go back to Eevee, because Eevee is real time, so you don't need to worry about rendering too long. But yeah, so I'm sure that's the thing at the moment that I can think of. That's hopefully you are learning the process of creating a scene from the beginning till the end. Next workshop, I'm planning to reusing this background here and then adding some character. And then we're gonna try to animate the character and how to rig it, and then how to get the rigging connected to your model and weight it, as well as maybe touch a little bit of the animations aspect. And we put everything together with the scene and to create the final film. So hopefully that will be, well, that workshop will start sometimes in July. And yeah, in the meantime, please go back to the previous workshop if you have any, if you're not sure or clear about how to do certain things, and try to create the scene from the, and like if you want to create something else beside a building, you want to create a different house, you want to create a different environment, different feeling, you play around with it, right? So this is just a basic tool that I'm giving it to you in order for you to start working on your scene. And if you have any problem creating the scene that you're trying to create, you can always shoot me an email and give me your like a picture render of your progress and what can be done. If you need just an extra set of eyes to look on your art, just please shoot me an email and we can take it from there, and I can give my suggestions or maybe some to make your scenes better. Or if you have problem with technical stuff, I can help you find the solution for it. Okay, thank you again for coming and for attending this workshop. And hope I'll be able to see you again next workshop on July. And keep animating, keep modeling. I'll see you in July. Thanks again. Bye.
Perfect. Thanks, Leon. That was fantastic. Another great session. I'm just going to put Leon's email information up here for anybody who's looking to send him an email. It's right here, leontbmcs@gmail.com. Go out, be creative, and try out this scene creation yourself, and come back in July. Take care.